like, comment, subscribe, share, and make sure you hit that notification button so you can be notified about my new videos.
Welcome back to my life. I want to do a follow up to the episode that I did about money because I feel like it's really important, especially going into this new year, into this new phase of life, this new phase of our journey, that I sort of put out there how important this least blessing really is, because it is very important. Money management in God's eyes is a very, very, very important thing. He wants you to know where it comes from. He wants you to know what to do with it. And he wants you to know what not to do with it in order to fund your lifestyle and also to prosper your life. So I thought it was really important for me to go through and tell you a story about my life and how I went from being a knucklehead to someone who tries to be as smart as I can with money and move strategically, of course, throughout life with money because I realize why we have it and what we're supposed to do with it. Now, when I first graduated from college, I got a job as an engineer and I was making about $60,000. Now, back then, when I graduated, that was a whole lot of money. I'd never had that much money before and never had that kind of income consistently coming in. So, when you think that the well won't run dry, you make dumb mistakes. So here are some of the mistakes that I made when I first started making money. I was 22 years old, and as I said before, I was making $60,000. I was raised and taught that when I go out and get my own place, that I should go out and buy a piece of property. So I did. So at around 2005, 2006 time frame, I went out and searched for a house. And at that time, I didn't know much about the market. I just knew that I needed a place to live. And the only way I could get out of my mama's house and not make her too upset was to go own a piece of property. So I went out and looked for a piece of property. But I wasn't sure about what the rates or what the prices usually are for a house. And I hadn't really kept my eye on the market. So I went out and bought a house at the height of the market. So I bought a condo, 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom, for roughly $400,000. I know, right? And then 3 to 4 years later, the market started to decline. But in the midst of that stupidity, I also did something else stupid. I bought 2 cars, both with payments on them. So I owned a house that was going upside down, or a condo that was going upside down. And I had 2 very expensive depreciating assets. And I went out and got another job. So I worked one job for 8 hours during the day and worked another job for 4 hours at night because I didn't want the well to run dry. But even with me making up that money by working another job, I still managed to rack up a whole lot of debt. And I still had loans on my cars. And not only that, I was putting stereo systems in my cars. I was putting performance products on my cars to make them go faster and make them louder. Yeah, I know, right? So I was just racking it up. Good old Joseph was out there just spending like he lost his mind. So there is a Bible verse that has become very, very, very dear to my heart because it is the truth. And it is Job 20:15. And it says, he swallows riches, but will vomit them up. God will expel them from his belly. Meaning, you'll get money. You will. You'll get them. And the Lord will bless you. But you'll end up giving it right back. And that's what I was doing. As soon as the money came in, it was coming right back out. What did I have in savings? Nothing. What did I own? Nothing. Overpriced cars, overpriced house, high interest rate on my mortgage, car insurance through the roof. It was crazy. And I was going out to eat every day, treating people to lunch. He wanted me to be generous. He did. And I am generous. And I was generous. I still am. But not to the point where I was going into debt. And I didn't really understand debt like that. So, yeah, a fool in his money soon parted. And that's exactly what I was doing. I was being foolish. But I learned. I learned through heartache, through pain, through suffering, through having a bank account that had no money and a pocket with lint in it, that I needed to chill out and I needed to change the way I handled money and the way I looked at money. It's not to be squandered. It is not to be spent. It is not to be overutilized. It is supposed to be used to build. But when you're in debt, you can't build. When you're buying things that you don't need, you can't build. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Now, I didn't have to go completely to the bottom for me to understand that. I sold one of my cars. The other car got stolen. So I think that was God's way of talking to me, or the universe, or whatever you would have that be. But yes, so I lost two cars. So let me explain that I had two cars that had a payment, and one car I had already owned. I had owned that since freshman year of college. So when I got out of college, I bought two more just to clear that up. Yeah. So I had three cars, could only drive one at a time, and two of the cars had loans on them. Both of which these cars were my goals when I got out of college, of course. But anyhow, yeah, that was not the right way to go about that. So I ended up selling one of my cars, the car that I put the most money into sound systems and, making it look beautiful and flashy. And yeah, I just started to buckle down and realize that it's more about what I do with money at this point in order for me to keep it. And I kept coming after, more and more promotions and getting paid more and overtime. And as I said, I had got a second job at one time where I was literally making over 100 grand between the two jobs. But it didn't matter how much I made because my behavior truly needed to change. I was acting like a 4-year-old. So what's the point? The point is that a lot of us want wealth. A lot of us want to be blessed with wealth. A lot of us want to be endeared with money. And the reason why, as I said before, it's the least blessing is because it's not the actual money. It's what you do with it. It's what you build with it. It's the wealth and how you use it as a tool in your life. And he wants you to use it in the right way. So a lot of people think that, oh, I don't have enough money, or, I'm not making enough money, and that's why I'm broke. Or a lot of people feel like if I had tons of money, I wouldn't have this problem. Well, unfortunately, we think that way. But if we look at the reality around us, there are people who make way more money than the average person, millions and millions of dollars. And they report every day because they don't have good spending habits, or they're not really educated on money, or they're really too generous that they end up losing it all or squandering it all and having to start from scratch. So that's something that I want God's treasure to avoid. Avoid my mistake. When you make money, whether it's 60,000 or 50 million, I don't know who's watching, but take time, pray, meditate, read through the Bible. It'll tell you exactly what you need to do with the money. He wants you to prosper. He wants your money to grow. As I said before, he wants all these things to happen for you. He wants nothing but good things to happen for you. He wants you to be happy, but not at the expense of your own future. So when I was making good money at the age of 22, and I was making these wrong moves, I didn't understand what debt really meant. So it's not just the money. Get into the debt as well. Debt, he wants you to make a lot of money. He wants you to prosper. He does not want you to be in debt. Proverbs 22:7 says, the rich rules over the poor. The borrower becomes the lender's slave. The borrower is slave to the lender. Do you think that God wants you to be a slave? Do you think that he wants his treasure to be a slave? And at the time, I was. Hand up, for real. God doesn't want you to be a slave. He doesn't. He wants you to prosper. He wants you to do great things. He wants you to not be in bondage to a bank, to a credit card, student loans, too many mortgages, over leveraging. He doesn't want that, because then you're stressed. And that means you have to work. He doesn't want you to have to labor as hard as a lot of us do all the time. If we just take a moment and analyze our finances, see what we have coming in and what we have going out, and make a few modifications, though they are painful, these sacrifices are very, very painful. But in the end, they're worth it. You don't want to be a fool who's parted from his money. And you definitely don't want to be a slave by racking up tons of debt. And I have been both. Not even 16 years ago, I didn't learn my lesson for a long time. And some of us, God is waiting for us to learn that lesson so that he can bless us even more. Because when you're faithful in the least, y'all know that, he'll bless you with more. So when you start showing good money habits, good behaviors with money, when you have a little bit, it'll grow and you'll get more opportunity. But as a fool who doesn't learn how to use his money, and as a slave who is buried in debt, he can't use you the way he wants to. He can't prosper you the way he wants to prosper you. He knows that the more money he gives you, the more he'll spend. Oh, did I just say that? So you'll never be rich. He'll give you $50 million and you'll spend 60. He'll give you 60,000 and you'll spend 80. It's bad habits. So he wants you to take that 60 and save 25. He wants you to take that 50 million and be generous. But also make sure you take care of your family and be wise. Save, spend, give, all that. That's what he wants you to do. So, moral story is, don't go out and buy 3 cars and an overpriced house with a big interest rate on it, because you will be eating beans and rice and ramen noodles for a very long time. Luckily, I've grown out of it. Luckily, I'm smiling. Luckily, I've done better with myself and I've learned my lesson. But that's all. You're God's treasure. He wants to prosper you. He wants you to do well with money. He doesn't want to see you out here anybody's slave, groveling, or not having any money for your future. That is not what he wants you to do. He wants you to save because Jesus saves. It's a terrible show. But anyways, every morning when you wake up, I want you to say, I am God's treasure. Because you are. You're God's treasure. Make sure you say it in the mirror. Make sure you say it while you're brushing your teeth, washing your face, taking a shower. Sing it. I'm God's treasure. Because you are. You are. We'll see you next time.
Like, comment, subscribe, share, and make sure you hit that notification button so you can be notified about my new videos.